I'm joined by Cheryl Andrews of the Washington County Drug and Alcohol Commission. Cheryl, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you could be here. I want to talk a little bit about what you do. So if you could kind of give us a summary of your job and the good things that you've been doing.
Actually, we're the Washington Drug and Alcohol Commission, and we hold the contract with the state to provide treatment, intervention, and prevention services to the residents of Washington County. We are a 501c3, 3C, I guess.
There's a lot of different designations.
Yeah. So we're a nonprofit. We are actually independent from the county structure. We dissolved from the county about 12 years ago, but we have held the contract with the state since that time. So that being said, basically we receive dollars from the state to provide services to the residents of Washington County. And those services are for people who are underinsured or who have no insurance, and we offer free services as far as prevention and intervention.
Well, what kind of services and resources do you provide the citizens of Washington County?
In our office, we actually are a functional unit in the sense that we provide case management services. So we provide level of care assessments for people who are in need of any kind of drug and alcohol treatment services, but we refer out for treatment. We do not provide treatment. We have another unique service in-house. It's called Certified Recovery Specialist Services. So they're actually recovery services for individuals, non-treatment needs, if you would, people that maybe have gone through a treatment episode but need help finding a job or filling out applications or whatever that may be. So recovery support services are a huge part of what we do for people seeking services. We provide prevention services throughout all of Washington County. We provide direct service. We have 6 staff members in our prevention department. We provide services to all 14 school districts and the communities that surround those districts. One thing that I really want to highlight is, since I have been there for the last 3 years, we do a lot of mobile case management. What we have found is that not everybody knocks on our door and comes to our facility. We found that we need to go where they are. So we have mobile case management that is directly supplied to our hospitals in Washington County. So overdose victims or people that are showing up in the emergency departments that need help are connected to our office. We have a designated case manager to children and youth services. We have dedicated services to our criminal justice system in various programs with the court and the jail, and we have a dedicated mobile case manager for our students in the school districts through the Student Assistance Program.
How many people would you say, on a yearly basis that you help and serve who go into use your services or your programs?
Our services, as far as those seeking treatment, I want to say that we did like 2,400 screenings. That doesn't mean that all of those individuals actually went on to treatment, but many of them do. So we serve a huge part of the community, but our resources are limited.
Of course, and are you seeing a rise in applications over the last 3 years?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's always the hardest thing is when you don't see any additional funding and you're seeing it increase.
Absolutely.
It's tough to maintain.
Yes.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, there's a 3-stemmed approach: intervention, prevention, and treatment.
Right.
Can you expand on that?
As far as, we're doing prevention from birth till you die, basically. So we're in every aspect of the community. When we talk prevention, we talk evidence-based type curricula and practices. So in the classroom, we're starting very young. We're not teaching them naturally what heroin is, but we're teaching them about positive choices. And if they want to be a productive member of society when they grow up, then they need to make good choices when they're young. So we're starting at the very young ages. We found through our needs assessment, if you would, that we were actually doing programs in the schools a little too late because the age of of onset for trying a drug is now between 10 and 12 years old. So we found that we needed to bring the grade level down. So we're in the elementary level. So that's prevention from that standpoint. Intervention would be, just as we talked about with those school students, intervening when they are identified as having a need or they're high risk for drug use. So that is where we've placed people in the school to assess that student. And one unique thing that we do in Washington County, we subcontract with treatment providers. We actually provide treatment in each of the school districts so that this retains kids in treatment. We don't have to worry about transportation needs to get to treatment. So we're intervening and putting ancillary services around them when they need it right from the start. And I would say that our mobile case management is doing intervention too. So then that all leads to if a person needs treatment, and we kind of talked about that process.
Is there a specific age demographic where this is really spiking? I know we talked about we weren't quite getting to them early enough, but is it like our teenagers? Is it more like when people get into their 20s? Where is the bigger problem?
It's pretty much 18 to 25-year-olds. As far as what's happening is the trend is that we're in a prescription drug epidemic. So, we have doctors who are writing scripts for pain medication. We're treating pain as a fifth vital sign. So everybody wants to treat pain. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are originally prescribed legitimately pain medication become addicted. When they become addicted, then they move along the continuum. When they can't get a script anymore, they turn to heroin. And heroin is cheaper. So by the time they reach us, it's usually they're using heroin, they're in that age category. I will say we are now beginning to see people in their early 30s that are coming in addicted to heroin, shooting heroin, and it all stems back to some point of them receiving a legitimate script for pain, an injury, whatever it may be, and they end up on heroin.
Well, the burning question I have is what can we do as a community? What can we do locally? What can we do in Harrisburg to really address this problem?
Well, I will say as of last year, I think legislators are hearing us. Act 139 was passed. Act 139 allows for third-party prescribing of naloxone or Narcan, which means that family members can now get an antidote for an overdose death to reverse that overdose. And the other piece of that is the Good Samaritan law, which I'm sure our district attorney may have spoken about the Good Samaritan law, but it allows for some immunity for someone to call 911 and possibly not be prosecuted for being involved with a drug event. So that is huge. The other huge event, or the other huge thing that's happening statewide, is legislators are recognizing this is an epidemic, and our funds that we receive from the state simply aren't enough. And they're looking for ways to look to the private sector to put money into helping us purchase Narcan and helping us with initiatives.
Cheryl, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the time.
Sure.